Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 7 of The Great Jahy Will Not Be Defeated. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So last we left off with Jahy, she had a bit of a run-in with the magical girl, or rather, someone she thought to be a normal citizen but ended up being the magical girl, and she only barely escaped. I mean, I say barely escaped, but in reality, the magical girl took the big mana crystal and ran off. So, Jahy's not exactly in a good place right now. She's kind of down back to square one. And, maybe even a bit worse off, considering that the boss is now exercising in the restaurant. So at this point, the biggest obstacle for Jahy is that she's gonna have to find some way to get the mana crystal back. But I don't think she can really win in a straight fight, so she's gonna have to use subterfuge to her advantage. But more importantly, the boss is trying to lose some weight, so she's working out, and now, she has to have a partner to do it with to stay motivated. So I guess Jahy's just getting strung along. So, man, Jahy really is shameless. It's like, look, I'll give you some free food if you work out with me. It's like, well, say no more, I suppose. Although, perhaps predictably, I can't imagine Jahy would have ever worked out a day in her life, and therefore, going from, effectively 0 to 60 is, not good, I've started working out semi-recently, and, the first few workouts were pretty rough, sore all over, muscle fatigue, that sort of a thing, but, once you get over the hurdle, then it's not so bad, and, I'm not exactly, an Olympian exemplar, but I'm better off than I was before. Oh boy. It's over when you can't do one sit-up. At least the boss has the right attitude in that, you gotta take it slow, but one, I guess if that's truly all you can do, then that's it, but Jahy's not even horrifically malnourished or something, I feel like you should at least be able to do a couple in her condition, right? Oh boy. So maybe this is just the result of having, little minions to lord over and do everything for you. You literally don't have to do basic activities, and therefore your body just isn't accustomed to doing anything. Now, that last activity didn't really seem like real exercise. I'm not sure what to make of that, but, I don't know, maybe the idea is you strengthen your core by balancing. At least the boss has the right idea in that, like, the only way to ensure you get a good workout is you have to work to your capacity, You can't compare yourself to others, because, like, if you walk into the gym and you see a guy deadlifting 300 pounds, you can't immediately jump to that because you'll kill yourself. You have to maybe just start with the bar. Although that said, it really seems like the exercise is far more dangerous to Jahy than perhaps it should be. I'm wondering if there's something to the mana crystals causing bad luck, because sure, she's only stuck with a small chunk, but, she seems to be injuring herself frequently. Ooh. So Jahy is aware that she is growing in power, but the question is she going to start acting foolishly? And I feel like the answer is, of course, yes. She's going to use her newfound physical strength to confront the magical girl, and she's probably going to, not fare very well at all. Okay, so I guess Jahy is now a fitness nut. Like, hey, let's start going to this gym rather than just doing calisthenics. But, So the boss was just interested in losing a little bit of weight and not, like doing this in perpetuity. Which, I guess it kind of makes sense if that was her goal from the outset, but, I guess that's unfortunate for Jahy, who was, intent on training further. There's no reason why she can't do it on her own, but, there is something to going with a friend. So I'm wondering what the big conflict is going to be here, because Jahy's just sort of sleeping. Is she going to get the urge to exercise? Is the magical girl going to show up? I don't know, maybe that's like a noisy neighbor or something. There's something in the background. Man, that's got to be the worst, having a noisy neighbor, blaring music in the wee hours of the night. I was fortunate never to really have any neighbors like that, but boy, if I did, I'm sure I would hate them. Man, imagine playing guitar at 2 in the morning. Like, that's just... There's a level of courtesy that's just totally absent if you're doing something like that. And you can't be gainfully employed if you're doing that, So I feel like Jahy pummeling her wall, like, that's, probably not a good idea, Because either she's gonna injure herself on the wall, or if they're so thin she can hear all this noise, she's gonna, punch a hole through it or something. In either case, it's not good. Although, in the latter scenario, I feel like the landlord would be morally correct in stringing her up. Ooh. So for Jahy to escalate the arms race with pots and pans here, I feel like she's only going to share in whatever punishment this neighbor gets. Like, if the landlord comes to yell at that neighbor, she's gonna get in on it too. Maybe the rational thing to do might be to go knock on their door and, tell them to shut up face to face. I feel like, generally speaking, you're gonna get a lot more mileage doing that. So it's interesting that, this neighbor seems to have recognized that this is an arms race, and now they're just sort of escalating things in response to the clanging. It's unfortunate that there were no rational people involved in this, because, maybe they could mutually come to the understanding that, it's 2 in the morning. Maybe no one should be making noise. I mean, there's got to be some kind of a consequence, Wow. Imagine spending several hours banging pots and pans in the middle of the night. Like, everyone's gonna suffer for it. No one's gonna get any sleep. And knowing Jahy, she's gonna have to get up and go to work or otherwise search for mana crystals. So I guess the question is, what are the ramifications of not having any sleep? I feel like she's gonna get caught unawares by someone. Ooh, the landlord. I feel like maybe Jahy should have enlisted the landlord before now. Ooh. That's an unwelcome surprise. The unit next to her is empty, so she was staying up late and rattling pots and pans for no good reason. Well, I guess the question is, who was making all that noise then? She's looking for mana crystals now. Are we just going to gloss over the fact that someone was making all sorts of noise? I guess we are, So I guess more importantly now, Jahy has a rival for searching for rocks. Of course, she's looking for mana crystals, which are different, of course, but ooh. I feel like Jahy's made a rookie mistake here saying, that's actually my rock, you should give it to me. Wow. I mean, she's just been absolutely bodied. The kid's like, maybe you should be more polite to people. I might be older than you and all that. This is what Jahy deserves, honestly. A bratty little kid talking back to her. Maybe it's not a good idea to be transforming like this in public, considering the cops have been after her about, being a suspicious character, scantily clad and all that. Probably not a good idea to be doing this in a children's park. And you know what? I feel like this is only going to raise more questions. Alright, yeah, the kid is sensible. It's time to get away from this weirdo. And you know what the worst part about all of this is? The cool rock in question isn't even a mana crystal. I mean, blatantly obviously so. Man, I bet Jahy feels stupid now. And you know what? I bet she'd feel a whole lot worse off if the cops came by for a little visit, wondering why someone's preying on innocent children. Oh, maybe it's just going to be that kind of an episode where she has to interact with all the local kids. At least this kid seems to be, more even-tempered, seemingly willing to offer help finding whatever Jahy's looking for. Wow, Jahy really doesn't deserve this goodwill. Now, there is the question of whether or not there actually is a mana crystal around here, because I'm more than willing to bet there probably isn't one. Sure, she says like, ooh, the pendant indicates there's one around here, but, she's just like looking around in the grass, crawling aimlessly. And you know what? Isn't that typical that Jahy would sort of ascribe bad intentions to this otherwise innocent child? Like, ooh, she probably wants the mana crystal for herself. That's something. That's something I've kind of noticed before, where good people tend to ascribe good motives to others and bad people tend to ascribe bad motives to others. You know, everyone sort of assumes that everyone else thinks like them. You know, at least the girl is sort of like accidentally flattering Jahy, which is probably the fastest way to friendship. You know, thinking about it, this sort of an explanation for the mana crystals is probably like the best possible way to get a kid interested in finding them. Although that said, I feel like Jahy probably shouldn't transform in front of this kid. And you know, maybe saying, like, the bane of my existence is this magical girl, that's probably not a good thing to be saying to a kid. Just because, you know, normally kids side with the hero. And I guess Jahy is the hero of her own story, but, yeah, I don't know. I don't think any, reasonably intelligent kid should be siding with her. So I guess the question is, with Kokoro here, is she going to succeed in finding a mana crystal, and, you know, to what end? Because I feel like she's not going to be so lucky as to find a big one. Like, if anything, it'll probably be like a small, little, tiny shard. Man, even in her internal monologue, Jahy's just a villain. Like, oh, I took advantage of this stupid kid to help me find the crystal. And you know, it's not like they're immediately successful. It seems like it's taken the whole day, which... I don't know. I don't know how a kid would explain that to their parent. Like, you know, oh, I was like playing with this other kid, but... Ooh, I feel like Jahy's gonna be surprised. You know, the kid's like, hey, we can't give up looking, let's look somewhere else, right? Jahy does not deserve this beneficence. So, you know, I guess that's it then. Jahy has a new little friend to try and search for mana crystals with. And, you know, probably one who will escape scrutiny by and large. You know, it's not like she's gonna get caught by the police. Although speaking of the cops, Kokoro has the right idea in that, you know, maybe you should talk to the police about this, but like, that's really a singularly bad idea for Jahy. You know, I think at this point, like, she's been enough of a nuisance that they should really just like throw her in a cell and, you know, toss away the key. You know, I guess this is something to be said for Jahy. She seems to be feeling some small degree of guilt, which, you know, I guess that proves she's not beyond redemption totally. Ooh. You know it's over when you fall and scrape your knee. The question is, like, what's gonna happen now? Like, naturally, Kokoro's going to take pity on her and say, like, oh, yeah, like, there we go, a band-aid and all that. So, like, you know, Jahy's gonna have to come to an understanding here, like, look, sometimes people are just good by their very nature. And, you know, maybe she'll learn a lesson about not exploiting people like that. I mean, maybe that's a little too optimistic. She probably won't learn, but, you know, she might have a little idea that, you know, I can't necessarily take this person for granted. Okay, so I guess Kokoro has, like, a little sixth sense here. You know, just like this little intuition that, oh, we might find one. Ooh. Okay. So rather than a mana crystal, she found a 4-leaf clover, which naturally is, good luck. I'm not surprised Jahy doesn't immediately understand the implication, but, oh, you know what? This is something, actually. You know, mana crystals bring misfortune, 4-leaf clovers bring good luck, so, you know, maybe this will ultimately help Jahy by sort of balancing out the bad luck. So I guess that's it, you know. Ultimately unsuccessful, but there's still the promise of searching again another day. Now I guess the question is, will Jahy learn anything from this? I feel like the answer is, decidedly maybe. I mean, if she's saying she was too impatient and hoping to find a shard today, then, you know, maybe she has learned. Okay, yeah. You know, there we go, Mr. Narrator. Kokoro's just innocence has softened Jahy's heart to a degree. Alright, so instead of like a cooking show or something, now we've got like a little follow-up on that diet business. So she's just giving Jahy a bunch of sweets, which, you know, I feel like Jahy will graciously accept the food. But I feel like if you're just handing around sweets, oh, and partaking in them too, I feel like this is a really good way to, undo all the hard work of your diet. Oh dear. Yeah, I know where this is going. Like, Jahy might enjoy the sweets, but, the boss probably will too. A little too much, in fact. Oh dear indeed. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.